What is up, everyone? Welcome to the first random comic book review. Thank you for joining me. Just a little about what's gonna happen here. I'm gonna try to do this a little bit more often, probably every Sunday morning. You're gonna see a video go up on this channel, on the Suicide Moses Productions channel. I'm just gonna talk about some comic books. I enjoy comic books a lot. I get a lot of different series. I'm really into mini-series rather than the long-lasting ones, but there are some longer-running ones that I am into. I'll probably do a few reviews on like Seven to Eternity and stuff like that in the future. But this episode here, we're gonna talk about my personal top five comic miniseries you need to read. Let's get started. Number 5, Gears and Bones. I have the issues here. Start with issue 1. Beautiful. It is a random, very random series that I got into by a small company called Guardian Knight Comics. It was only 6 issues before it got canceled. And that's the problem with smaller companies is they don't have a lot of money, they don't have a lot of ground. They're trying to find other publishers to get their comic books out there. This series is amazing. The artwork was fantastic. It was written by Andrew Anderson and William Thomas. Illustrations by Oswald Montepeller. I have a weird thing for rabbits and like if you like pirates and fighting and ninjas and old school with like dragons and stuff, and they like fly around on pirate ships in the sky. There's ancient cities literally built on dragons that have been sleeping for centuries. This series is for you. And yes, there's only 6 issues and it was never finished and never resolved, but it's worth the read for the few issues. The artwork that you're going to see, just a few panels that I can think of is like in the first issue where they show him when his mother got killed by the villain in the story in the first issue, and he's on the ship with her and he's only maybe like 1 or 2 with the lightning in the background in the dark. It's beautiful. So check out Gears and Bones. Guardian Knight Comics. It came out in 2017, canceled after 6 issues. If you can, go to GuardianKnightComics.com and read some of their issues that are still going. Give them some of your money. Moving on, number 4, Usagi Yojimbo, Senso. Alright, so Usagi Yojimbo started in 1984 by Stan Sakai, whatever you want to say. It's a massive comic book series. He didn't quit making it until like the late 90s, maybe early 2000s. So there's hundreds of issues. He's done every one himself. It has some of the best artwork I've ever seen, and I am a huge fan of black and white pencil artwork, and that's what these are. He quit, which I don't blame him. That's a lot of work to be doing for years and years and years. As soon as I heard he was doing a comeback for his 30-year anniversary, he did a comeback miniseries, a 5-issue miniseries called Senso. I instantly subscribed to it, and it brought back in a heavy way. It was the first, probably not the first time, but it was definitely something different with an alien spaceship, alien invasion landing in the middle of a war between feudal Japan and a war between territories in Japan. Just a fantastic read, and it got him back into it. So it was 5 issues before the continuation, and they're probably on, this was in 2015, so they're probably on issue who knows what by now. But check out that series. Great effing series. Number 3, Cable, Blood and Metal. Now this series right here was always one of my top. Like when I found this, I was ecstatic, and it's not hard to find. It's not a rare series. It is his first solo series. It was in 1992. Marvel Comics, obviously. Fabian Nicieza and John Romita Jr. Sorry, I butchered that. This series expands on everything all the convolutedness of the Cable story and him literally tracking down Strife through time. It's only a 2-issue miniseries, which I like that. I like being able to start and finish a series rather quickly. That's why I like miniseries. I like to tie it up and have an ending, rather than, being 25 issues in and wondering if the artist is getting fatigued or if the story's going to start going downhill or if they're just going to cancel it altogether. I like knowing that I'm going to get a beginning and an end to it. So, Cable Blood and Metal, one of my top favorites of all time. And Cable's one of my favorite characters of all time, so that's why I've always kind of gravitated towards him, especially in the X-Men series, which is when he was introduced to me. Check that out. Cable's first solo series, issues 1 and 2 from 1992, Blood and Metal. Sorry, let me turn this music down. All of a sudden it got really loud. If I can. There we go. Alright, so number 2 on my list is Gambit. His first solo series, such an amazing character that we didn't know much about. He has a lot of shadow in his backstory. They didn't really expand on it to this point. You got some in the Uncanny X-Men, but not a whole lot. If you wanted to know more about where he came from, his beginnings with the thieves and the assassins and the Bayou and all that stuff, this series is for you. It's only 3 issues long, but like I said, you get a ton of his backstory, him with Belladonna and her brother who was killed and brought back to life and now wants revenge on Remy LeBeau. You get more of the I can't remember the chick that comes out of the swamp that's like insanely powerful. Everything that you saw in the Uncanny X-Men that you wanted more of is what you get from him. Get from this. The artwork, I mean, in every one of these, you got to go with the artwork. I mean, and it was his first solo series, so they wanted to make it big. This character was becoming very popular in the 90s, so they gave him an awesome 3-issue miniseries, beginning and an end, wrapped up real quick. That was 1993. Also not a hard one to find. You'd be surprised. Maybe issue number 1 might be a little bit more difficult to find, but actually this special gold edition with the stenciling seems to be a little bit easier to find than the 3rd issue here. This one seems to be a little bit harder, but even if you find it, I mean, at your flea market or something, you're probably only going to pay maybe $2 to $3 for it at most. That's what I would pay for it. But yeah, check out that. Great series. And at number 1, we're wrapping this up real quick. Another Cable series, because like I said, he's just my favorite character. And this one delves more into the X-Men universe, which is obviously my favorite of all comic book arcs. I've always loved X-Men. It's what got me into comic books. Cable, is this number 1? This is part 3. Part 2, here we go, part 1. Cable, Fathers and Sons, part 1. Part 2. And part 3. Fathers and Sons gives you a whole lot of stuff that you didn't get in. If you watch the X-Men 90s cartoon, you got a little bit of Mr. Sinister and his interest in Scott Summers and Jean Grey and their child and what could be in the future with them, knowing that they were going to have one of the most powerful mutant children, offspring. This goes way even deeper than that. You get a lot of the Sinister story. You get a lot of Dayspring, Tyler Dayspring, basically hating his life so much and what it's become because he doesn't know who he is, where he's come from, who, his family is. Everything's so messed up from all the time travel that he actually goes and decides to try to time travel around and try to kill everyone who has ever wronged him or made his life the way that it is. So he goes and he tries to kill Nathan Summers, Cable, Scott Summers, Jean Grey, all of them. And it's a crazy, confusing, time-hopping story with, like I said, everything that you want from the Uncanny X-Men mixed with Cable, mixed with his backstory. Mr. Sinister, I mean, you can't go wrong when you get Mr. Sinister in there. The artwork, as I said, in all these, if it doesn't have good artwork, I'm not going to be able to be interested in it. And I always try to go with the best artwork that I could possibly find. And that's my number one series. That was 1993 by Marvel Comics. That's Cable, Fathers and Sons. So there's number 5, Gears and Bones, 2017 by Guardian Knight Comics. Check that out. Number 4 was Usagi Yojimbo Senso, which was a 5-issue series in 2015, but it was continued, so you can check out that. Number 3 was Cable, Blood and Metal. That was 1992. That was Cable's first solo series. It's only 2 issues, so check that out. That's easy. Number 2 was Gambit, his first solo series in 1993. That's only 3 issues. And at number 1 was Cable, Fathers and Sons. That was 1993 also. Check that out. That's about it. I hope you enjoyed this, the first random comic review. If you did, subscribe, and share the Suicide Moses channel to get more content like this. The Strange Planet podcast is on Tuesdays. We're working on a music podcast for some indie band / live show coverage of the local area, which Pittsburgh is our local area. That'll probably be on Thursdays by a friend of mine, which I'll introduce. The Wrestling Roundup by Anthony, who's my co-host on the Strange Planet podcast. He'll be putting up a wrestling, probably prediction / just talk about wrestling show. It should go up on maybe Fridays, maybe Saturdays. So a lot going on the Suicide Moses Films production channel. Like I said, share, subscribe, and tell your friends about our channel. We're trying to grow it, and we hope you enjoy this just intimate, personal conversation here with me talking about comic books. Thanks for watching.